For a little background, I'm a 27-year-old female, and I recently just moved into a nice apartment in a safe neighborhood with my two dogs, Charles and Wigwam. Charles is a Corgi German Shepherd mix and is the most loving but overly obnoxious dog, while Wigwam is a Lhasa Apsoda who is quiet, sweet, and most definitely scared shitless of his shadow. I've only been in my place for about a month, and after this experience, I highly doubt I'm going to make it here for the duration of my long lease. The way that these apartments are set up is that each floor has its own sets of doors that lead to four apartments and a fire escape door that only opens from the inside. I'm on the back side of the building, which places me on a patio about 10-ish feet from the fire escape stairs. I take my dogs out 3 times a day. Midnight being the latest I will go out by myself, and every time I leave my apartment, I put the bar lock on my patio door and lock my front door without fail. About a week ago, we had snowstorm, and I had cracked my patio door because, well, I love cold weather, and I'm a fucking adult, and if I want to watch the snowfall, then I can do as I please. Mistake number 1. I let my guard down because I'm stubborn twat. It was around 11 p.m., and I decided that since it was getting late, I should take the dogs out for the night, and since they both hate snow, this would be a quick trip. I go to lock the patio door and decide against it because I'm on the freaking 5th floor, and I'm only going to be outside for a few minutes. I get the dogs ready, grab my keys, then lock my door as I leave the apartment. I get down to the designated pet area with my beloved snow-hating dogs and let them do their thing, and then back to the apartment we go, and we get back in safely, or so I thought. This is where I thought I was losing my mind, but in actuality, shit was about to get real. As soon as we walk into the apartment, my dogs run over to the patio door, and I notice the door is shut and the bar is locked. Mistake number 2. I immediately think that's strange, but didn't connect the dots. I go into the kitchen to get dog treats, and both dogs start going batshit crazy and growling at a large cedar chest in my living room. And as I walking to see what all the commotion is about, I see a pair of eyes creeping from under the chest lid. I stood there for about 5 seconds before I realized what I was seeing and calmly walked backwards to my front door, opened it, and told my dogs, "Let's go outside," and they ran out without leashes, and I immediately get them and myself in my car, lock the doors, and call the police. The police show up in less than 5 minutes and go up to my apartment, and after 20 minutes, 2 officers are dragging a 40-ish-year-old fucktard out of my building in cuffs. The plot thickens. This dude had been watching me since I moved in and had been staking out my place, waiting for an opportunity to get inside because he knew I lived alone. If that's not creepy enough already, he had a funny pack since it's still 1990, and he had a pocket knife, needles, catamine, and a picture of me from the day I moved in. And his plan was to sneak in through my patio door, wait for me to fall asleep, and God knows what else. Needless to say, I didn't sleep for days, because I thought he would come back. Luckily, the bastard is still in jail, but I'll never forget those eyes. So the dude who planned on drugging me in my sleep, fuck you.
I was born in the US, but due to family problems, I ended up being raised by my aunt in Tijuana, Mexico. There, I never felt at home because my brother and I were treated differently than my cousins, and we always ended up doing more work than everybody else. For example, I was always going to the store for anything that was needed, at least 6 times a day, and my brother was in charge of cleaning the yard every day. In one of those trips to the store, I was coming back to the house. I did not go to the usual store that was a mile away from the house, but to a farther and bigger store where I could buy all the things that I was asked to bring. In order to get to my aunt's house, you had to go under the train's bridge into a neighborhood that is surrounded by maquilas, big factories, where the pay is bad and the work is dull in some houses. When I was approaching the exit to the bridge, I noticed a cab driver trying to go through the bridge as well, but ended up making a U-turn and parked right next to the curb. He called me out and I thought he was lost. It was not uncommon to get lost in that place. There were huge barriers that were built during the flood of 1993, when El Niño killed several people some blocks away and the bodies were carried out in the waters of the flood that invaded part of the city. So sometimes you think you were going somewhere just to find out that there was a dead end. I thought this person was lost. and GPS was not common at the time. This was 2003 or 2004. When I was in front of his window, he opened with a brief speech, which was along the lines of, "Please don't be offended for what I'm about to say. You can always say no in case you do not feel like it. But I was wondering if I could give you $10 if you went with me to do some nasty stuff." What? I was caught off guard. He was definitely not lost, quite the contrary. Knew exactly what he wanted. I remember I was speechless, and in the process of my inability to muster words, I shook my head and he drove away. I got home, called the police, and left it as they did not ask for my name and did not want to get involved with the police further, since they held a reputation of being extremely and inefficiently and easily corruptible. The only thing I could remember is him calling for me and the fact that he had offered me $10. I don't know how stupid I look, but I must look extremely dumb for him to think I was going to go with him for that amount of money. I'm not implying that if he offers me, let's say, $1,000, that I would agree. I'm just saying that this amount is insulting to the point that it boils my blood, while simultaneously making me laugh at the stupidity of his reasoning. Those two things I will never forget. Hopefully he got caught, and no kid has worse memory than the one I have of him.